Hello everybody, welcome back. This will be the kickoff for a new project I'm working on, the 57 four-door sedan I picked up about a month ago. Plan for this one is I've got a wedding to go to in the middle of October, and I'd like to drive this thing to that wedding. So I'm going to be still working on the 55, but putting a big effort into getting this 57 up and going. Not doing major body work and the frame off restoration that I'm doing on the 55, you know, tearing it all the way down. There's certain things that I will need to replace. It's got a rotted floor, so I'll put a floor pan in like I did on the 55. I'll be doing partial, at least, if not a complete, trunk floor pan, because there's a lot of rot in it. Mostly on the driver's side. It looks like the half that's on the passenger side around the spare tire weld looks pretty good, so I might leave that. And then the lower portions of the fenders, especially on the passenger side, there's a little rot there. I may or may not fix that. I don't know, we'll see. I do want to fix the rockers and get that strengthened up before I pull the floor out, so I've got some of that strength back with the new rockers in place when I pick the body up to put the new full floor in. But anyway, what I'm working on today is just getting started on locating all the fasteners I need to take the front clip off, spraying down with penetrant, getting ready, pulling as much as I can, getting prepared to take the front clip off so I can pull the engine transmission out, and yeah, really start kicking butt on this thing. It's going to be a lot faster build than what I've been working towards for the other car, but I think I can do it. And starting from as original a car this is, I think it'll be a bit of a leg up in getting something mechanically up and driving a little faster than the other car. So not a super fancy build, a little more ratty looking car. I leave the patina the way it is for now. I might come back, you know, over the winter time and take the engine and trans back out and then blow it all up and really make it fancy. Or I might fall in love with just driving it the way it is and let it be the ratty car. We'll see. But anyway, this is kicking off a new series, so stay tuned and I'll get at it. Alright, this one's going to be doing a little bit of detail for posterity as I look at what I'm taking apart, so I can watch this later and put it back together, or close to it. So, looking here at the, get the camera set up a little better, there we go. The connections on the generator, and on the voltage regulator, like I said before, I think in the little quick overview when I got this thing home, probably be going to a one wire or at least like a internally regulated alternator. So that was more for just keeping track of what was where, and I'll get some tape and mark it when I take it off here, but I wanted to get it on camera so I can at least come back and have a look at it later. And I think I saw a mouse earlier whenever I was spraying the blaster on the mount points. So I go running down across the cross member. So I think Fievel might still be hiding out in here. I got to get him out of there. But yeah, I know there's a bolt up here, another one down here. Looks like there's two that hold the inner fenders to the support bracket that comes off the firewall on both sides. And then I know these two bolts that also go into the cross member for this lower valence piece and the radiator core support. And then there's a bolt from the front bumper in through the side here into the lower part of the fender. So yeah, I think I get those and then take the electrical connections, like the wires off from the firewall, and that was another thing I wanted to capture here. So the wires coming off the generator and going to the voltage regulator here also go out to the turn signal, I guess, for the headlights on this side and the other side there. They go through this clip. This is just a oil pressure line for a gauge inside, but yeah, they go through here and then back to the clip on the firewall below this penetration point. They go to that clip and over. So just keeping track of that routing for later posterity. Then over here, looks like I got the blower motor wire, which if it was on a clip here, maybe it's broke off. I don't know. I can get some Adele clamps or just tie it in and put it through this clamp maybe when I put it back together. But yeah, just looking at how things were routed here, so when I yank all this stuff out, I got something to reference. So anyway, thanks for that little detour, and I'll get back to time lapse and ripping this thing apart. All right, so the blue wire went to this outboard terminal. The two wires, looks bright brown, go to the inboard one, and then large black wire goes up to where the little condenser is here on the forward with the flathead screwdriver head, if you can see that. So just keeping track of the locations of those three. This next one labeled voltage regulator, and it went to the top post on the voltage regulator where this other red line's going. So I pulled it out of there and put the screw back in and labeled this one voltage regulator. Just found a little point of interest thing. I like to point these out whenever I see them. Hopefully you can tell here, if it'll focus on this bolt, you might be able to see in the threads there's a little bit of a gray colored goo. There is still some sealant left on those bolts that was holding the hinge on, so I doubt the hood hinges have ever been taken off. And the interesting thing is it's still soft and pliable. It's not dried out and brittle. That was something I noticed whenever I took the gasket off of the front windshield on the 55, is that the sealant that they had along the edge underneath between the gasket and the body on that pinch weld was actually still supple. You could peel it off almost 70 years later. So it's pretty cool. Like when it says on some of this stuff, you know, never hardens. Yeah, it looks like never includes decades later. So kind of cool. Anyway, thought that was worth taking a break and showing everybody. This little things like that that I like coming across and sharing. one other point, you can pull the front clip without having to take the wires off from where I have been, because there is a disconnect for all this wiring right here on the firewall. But I wanted to just clear it out of my way, so I was not only taking it off of the firewall, but also getting it off the fenders and stuff. I also do a little wire integrity check. I notice on here there's 2 power leads that go into like a splice thing. I don't know what the heck's underneath this electrical tape here. There's another one over here. So you know, I might be throwing a brand new wire harness on here just to you know, make sure that even though it's a quick job, not have the little cruiser burn down. You know, nobody wants that. So anyway, I'm pulling the entire wire harness here off the front clip. I'll leave the front turn indicators in there and the headlight harnesses in there, but the stuff on the inner fender up to the firewall, it's coming out. This one's going to be interesting to get to. You've got the control cable for the floor vents that comes up here. So one of the key differences here for the 57 compared to a 55, and a lot of you probably know this, some people don't. So for those of you who don't, we're going to have a little class session here and get the camera set up for portability, and I'll show you some cool stuff. So you can see the tube there coming up from the firewall and going forward into the fender. And there's another one on the passenger side here that goes forward. That ducting goes up into the fender along the top and to the headlights, which have this grating. This is where the air comes in for the floor vents. I think it's a really neat idea. The ducting seems like kind of a pain, but this keeps leaves from getting in and causing problems. There's still dust and other stuff that can get up there and collect, but they reworked the way the floor vents come through to the front side of the firewall instead of the side in the kick panel area. So all that work I've had to do over here on the 55, because they had a grate right here and leaves would come in, fall down into the cowl and collect in this area to come in through this side vent. That doesn't happen anymore. All the rework I had to do from here on down in that last video just to repair the damage from those leaves, I don't think we get that over here. So on the 57, the floor vent is on the forward side here, not on the side on the lower part of the cowl. And then one of the upper cowl differences, you'll notice there's no panel and no grate right here. The air doesn't come in this way like it did on the 55 and 56. And the air setup on my old C10 pickups, so I had a few from the 1960s, 60 to 66 C10s. They worked the same way the 55 did. The grate at the bottom of the windshield, and then coming in from the side. So that's another reason why with the 57 the windshield is different, because when they did that, they lowered this portion of the cowl, so the windshield is taller here to here than it is on a 55 or a 56. For those of you that watch a DD Speed Shop, one of his older videos way back, he was putting a windshield, I think in a 56 Chevy, and he had one from a 57 and didn't know it, and it just would not fit, and would not fit is because it's taller because of them reworking this portion and changing up the way all the air ducting worked. So just thought that was kind of a neat thing to go over. You know, I've seen bits and pieces around, but I haven't seen, you know, a big explanation of that, run across it before on videos at least. You know, the information's out there, but just thought I'd highlight it. It's kind of a neat way the system goes around, because I remember when I was first looking at 57s, I was wondering why they had this grate. You know, was that just a styling choice? No, the grate isn't a styling choice. It's to keep junk from getting up in there. So I think kind of a neat idea. So anyway, starting to run out of light here. We'll see how much further I can get tonight, and then I'll put on time lapse for the rest of what I'm working on and pick this back up tomorrow after that. There are two screws, this little self-tapper type sheet metal screws that hold the inner fender to the bracket that comes forward off the firewall. So I'm just getting in there with a 7/16 and taking those out. Kind of hard to see up in there, and I'm not going to take the time to set up the light to show it, but they're easy to find. That one had kind of a rusted head. It's hard to get on. Ugh. Okay. I got next. I think I'll try the two lower bolts here at the bottom of the core support. There's one here and one there. Goes through a piece of rubber, a little rectangular rubber piece, to kind of isolate it. It's got a fiber reinforcement there, so kind of holding the vibration and everything of all the front end right there. So see if I can't get on that. I've had that blaster working on it for a little bit. Let's see if it comes loose. point of interest. There's a tab that folds up and protects the nut from coming out on that front side. So you're gonna have to get like a screwdriver, a pair of pliers or something, and bend that protective tab out of the way before you can put the socket on there. Thought I'd grabbed the wrong size socket, but it turns out that it was just that tab preventing me from getting the socket on the nut. I did call it the right one the first time. Tool endorsement. Don't remember where I got this one. Actually, I think I got it for Christmas from someone, but it's got a locking tilt head, so you can go straight and spin around, or put it at a 45, your traditional, or down like that, or like that. I don't know how you'd use that. Maybe it's just for storage. I never store it that way, but you can lock it in, and then Stenso-matic, so it turns into its own breaker bar. I absolutely love this ratchet. Good for breaking it loose. And grab the old Milwaukee. Power this bad boy off. Show you guys the stack up here on the bottom side of that. So it's got the two nuts, and here are those tabs that I had to bend down out of the way. So had the nut right there and just bent up to keep the nut from bending out of the way. So it's got that locking tab, and then a metal brace, and then the piece of rubber with the fiber reinforcement, and then another metal brace. So it's kind of sandwiching that rubber between those two with this piece there and this piece there. Well, that about wraps it up for tonight. Didn't quite get the front clip off. Had a couple of bolts break off, and the lowest one on each side on the bottom of the fender where it met with the body at the rocker panel. This is my surprise face. Not surprised at all. But everything else came out pretty good, so not too bad. I'll probably get a reinforcement brace for the bottom of that the front fender on each side, and get that little bottom section of the fender. So I'll just be cutting off the like welded in nut that piece of the broken off bolt still stuck into. I'll just cut it off and put the new support brace in there, or maybe put a new nut. It's just see what it looks like whenever I get the clip off. But right now I don't care about fixing it. I just want to get the thing off. So tomorrow I'll be back out here after work, get the rest of the bolts undone. I've got a little more penetrament going on a couple of bolts where the front of the fender attaches to the bumper support. There's a couple little bolts in there, so I've got those soaking, and when I get out here tomorrow, probably hit them with this just a little bit again, let them sit for another 15-20 minutes, and then knock those bolts out and make another once over. I'll check my manual when I get in the house, see if there are any hidden ones that I'm missing, but just gonna look over that. But yeah, I'll knock those front ones out, and then I should be able to get that front clip off. So we'll see if I can grab my buddy to come give me a hand taking it off, so I don't have to struggle by myself. But if I can't, I'll just grab some cardboard and make do. Anyway, see you guys tomorrow. Well, here I am back at it next day. I actually had an interesting sight when I was driving down the street. About a block before I got to my house, I looked up and saw a yellow 35 Chevy being pushed down the street by a couple of kids. A gentleman I know lives a couple of houses down the street from me. Apparently he took it for a little drive and it died on him at the end of the street, and the kids were helping push it back. So I got to get out and help him push it all the way, and he's like, "Hey, I saw that 57 you were working on." I was like, "Yeah, I got that and a 55 in the garage." So I got to visit with one of my neighbors and bond over car stuff, which was pretty cool. But anyway, I have one of my own buddies coming over this afternoon to give me a hand with taking the front end off, you know, being the muscle man to help me pick it up off the frame and whatnot. But I'll finish up getting the rest of the fasteners off so this thing's loose and ready for when he gets over here. Well, I've got the front clip unbolted, but it's kind of held in. Looks like the passenger side front bumper has a little tweak in it. It's kind of pushing in and trapping it, and it overhangs anyway the lower like splash pan area, the extensions and stuff down here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pull the front bumper. I'll grab some new hardware to put it on for later. You don't have I was looking at the condition of the threads and stuff, and I don't think I want to reuse the hardware that's there anyway, so I'll just grab some new stuff for it. But go ahead and pull the bumper off, and it'll also make it where I can get in here a little closer with my engine hoist without this crossbar here in the way, so I can really get in there deep, because these straight sixes in here are actually kind of heavy. Well, I've got the front sheet metal removed here with the help of my good friend Matt. While he was here, I also went ahead and unbolted the seat and yanked the seats out of the back, just since I had him here to do some of the heavy lifting. I only broke a couple of bolts off, but since I'm putting the whole new floor pan in, just like I did on my 55, it's all right. So like, I don't care if the bolts break as long as they just get out of there either way. So one of them, the head stripped, so I used the grinder to try and cut the head off, but with just part of the seat I couldn't get the grinder in far enough, so I grabbed Freddie, my favorite little air chisel there, and Freddie fixed it. He knocked the head right off. So anyway, thanks everyone for watching, and stay tuned for the next video on this 57 where I'll be blasting all this stuff out. So thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.